The Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe has its origins in the 1975 Conference on Security and Cooperation in Europe, which was held in Helsinki, Finland. Until 1990, the CSCE consisted mainly of a series of meetings and conferences where participating states made unanimous decisions on their commitments and periodically reviewed their implementation. On August 1, 1975, the Helsinki Final Act was signed as a politically binding agreement with the aim of improving relations between the Communist bloc and the West. With the signing of the Helsinki Final Act, the organization which was to become the OSCE was founded. Following the end of the Cold War, however, the Paris Summit of November 1990 tasked the CSCE with a new mission. In the Charter of Paris for a New Europe, the CSCE was called upon to play its part in managing the historic changes taking place in Europe and responding to the new challenges of the post-Cold War period. As a result, the CSCE acquired permanent institutions and operational capabilities. As part of the institutionalization process, the name was changed from the CSCE to the OSCE by a decision of the Budapest Summit of Heads of State in December 1994. In the mid-1960s, the Soviet Union, together with the authority of the 8 communist states of Central and Eastern Europe, part of the Warsaw Treaty Organization, proposed organizing a European Conference on Security and Cooperation with the purpose of adopting a text confirming the existing borders in Europe and laying down the framework for large-scale East-West economic cooperation. One of the most significant aspects of the signing of the Helsinki Final Act was the inclusion of the principle on the respect for human rights, which was a major achievement. It represented the first acknowledgement in an international document that recognized a direct link between human rights and security. The many issues raised for discussion at the talks were grouped under 3 headings: questions relating to security in Europe, cooperation in the fields of economics, science and technology and of the environment, and cooperation in humanitarian and other fields. The inclusion of such a wide range of issues reflects a widespread approach to security that remains one of the OSCE's greatest assets.
There has been a strong evolution of the security environment in the OSCE area. The OSCE is coming from a phase in which the CSCE before and the OSCE after in the 90s were really looking at the European space in a way that was sort of inward looking. We were dealing with the Cold War and then the consequences of the Cold War, the conflicts that arose. With the turn of the century, we started opening up because of the changes in the international environment following September 11, terrorism, and more and more we saw the impact of organized crime, trafficking activities, trafficking of human beings, of weapons, of drugs. So the agenda really expanded now to include also environmental issues, climate change, water, etc. So the toolbox of the organization needed to be enriched, adjusted. We had to develop partnerships with external actors. And this was a major reshaping, in a way, of our approach to security, which allowed us, however, to realign ourselves with the current challenges and to maintain a relevant approach to addressing them.
Today, the OSCE consists of 57 participating states and 11 partner states, also known as Partners for Cooperation, with 6 official languages: English, French, German, Italian, Russian, and Spanish. In addition, the OSCE maintains partner relations with other international, regional, and sub-regional organizations, such as the United Nations, NATO, the European Union, and the Council of Europe, among others. These relations are important in order to address the potential spillover of new security threats between the OSCE area and neighboring regions. The OSCE employs around 550 people in its various institutions and around 2,330 in its field operations. Staffers outnumber international seconded employees by roughly 3 to 1. The budget of the organization is relatively modest in comparison to its activities. For example, in 2015 the adopted unified budget amounted to approximately 140 million euros. The largest portion of the budget goes towards the Secretariat and institutions, with 39%.
We have, of course, to deal with the global challenges, beginning with terrorism, for instance, that do apply to this region as to others. But the major change we have seen was earlier this year, the beginning of the crisis in and around Ukraine. And this crisis has underlined a deep division, a division that is of concern, first of all, for the developments on the ground, to which we responded by engaging in political dialogue with the sides and for trying to facilitate the process of de-escalation of the conflict, but also by deploying people on the ground, one of the largest operations in the history of the OSCE. But beyond that, there is also the debate on the rules of the game, the principles, the values that govern our actions and the relations among participating states. This has an impact, obviously, on the security of our part of the world, and on this issue, a debate has now developed and will continue next year, the 40th anniversary of the Helsinki Final Act, on the rules of the game.
Closely related to the comprehensive nature of security is the OSCE's cooperative approach, which rests on the underlying premise that security is indivisible, meaning that cooperation is beneficial to all participating states, while the insecurity in and/or of one state can affect the well-being of all. Therefore, no participating state should enhance its security at the expense of the security of another participating state. The various aspects of security are viewed as interconnected and interdependent. The OSCE remains one of the most significant regional intergovernmental organizations that comprehensively addresses security threats to Europe in all the areas and establishes a forum for dialogue among states on rising challenges.